It's 3:07 a.m. No noise. No alarm. Nothing woke you up. And yet, your eyes are wide open. You don't feel rested. You don't feel alert either. You feel stuck in between. You turn to one side, then the other. You try to relax your body, but your mind has already started moving. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough to keep you awake. A conversation you didn't finish. Something you forgot to do. A future moment you can't control. Thoughts you avoid all day. Show up now uninvited. And then you do what almost everyone does. You check the time. 3:10. You think, okay, I still have time to sleep. So you try harder. You force your body to relax. You tell your mind to shut up. And without noticing, tension starts building. A few minutes later, you look again. 4:02. Now something changes. Because now you're not just awake. You're worried. You start thinking about tomorrow. How tired you'll be. How hard the day will feel. How you won't be at your best. And the more you think about needing to sleep, the farther sleep seems to go. If this sounds familiar, even once a week, you're not broken. And you're definitely not alone. What most people don't realize is this. Waking up at night is normal. What turns it into a problem is what happens next. And tonight, instead of giving you vague advice or another reason to blame yourself, I'm going to walk you through 6 specific ways to stop these wake-ups, without medication, without forcing sleep, and without lying there for hours hoping your mind finally shuts off. Each one targets a different part of the cycle that keeps you awake. Your body, your breathing, your thoughts, and even what you do during the day. That quietly affects your nights. So before we go any further, take 1 second to subscribe to Emotional Growth. Because this channel is for women who want calm, clarity, and real psychological tools that actually work in real life. Now, let's start with the first thing you need to understand. What your brain is really doing at 3 a.m. and why fighting it only makes everything worse. Way number 1. What your brain is really doing at 3 a.m. Stop treating 3 a.m. like a malfunction. Because it isn't. Most people believe that waking up in the middle of the night means something is wrong with their sleep. That belief alone creates anxiety. And anxiety is what keeps them awake. Here's what's actually happening. Your sleep moves in cycles. Light sleep, deep sleep, dream sleep. At the end of some of those cycles, your brain briefly surfaces. Just long enough to check if everything is okay. This happens to everyone. Most people simply roll over and fall back asleep. The difference isn't waking up. The difference is what your brain does after it wakes up. When you wake up and your mind stays neutral, your body drifts back into sleep naturally. But when you wake up and your mind starts scanning, what time is it? Why am I awake? What if I don't fall asleep again? Your brain interprets that as a signal. Not a logical signal. A survival signal. Your emotional brain doesn't understand reassurance. It understands safety or threat. The moment worry enters the picture, your nervous system shifts into alert mode. Your heart rate changes. Your muscles subtly tighten. Your body prepares for action, even though there is no danger. And this is where people get stuck. They think the problem is the thought, but the real problem is the state their body has entered. Because once your body is alert, your mind will keep producing thoughts to match it. That's why forcing sleep doesn't work. That's why telling yourself to calm down doesn't work. And that's why everything feels heavier at night. At 3 a.m., your logical brain is quieter, but your emotional brain is wide awake. So one small thought turns into 10. A mild concern turns into a full mental loop. And then you start fighting the moment. You tell yourself, I need to sleep. I can't afford to be tired tomorrow. Why does this always happen to me? Even though those thoughts feel reasonable, your body hears urgency. And urgency keeps you awake. So the first way to stop waking up in the middle of the night is this. Stop labeling the wake up as a problem. Because the moment you stop treating it like a failure, your nervous system no longer needs to escalate. Let me ask you something. Be honest with yourself. When you wake up at night, do you immediately assume something is wrong? If so, that assumption might be the very thing keeping the cycle alive. Way number 2, the one habit that keeps this cycle alive. Stop turning the night into a calculation. There's one small habit that quietly trains your brain to stay awake at night. Almost everyone does it, and almost no one realizes how powerful it is. You check the time. It feels harmless, responsible even. You just want to know where you are in the night. But the moment you look at the clock, something shifts. Your brain doesn't just register numbers. It starts calculating. How many hours are left? If I fall asleep now, will that be enough? Am I already behind? And just like that, the night becomes a problem to solve. Your nervous system reacts immediately. Instead of resting, your body moves into evaluation mode. Your mind starts monitoring itself. Your thoughts speed up, not because they matter, but because they feel urgent. This is where the cycle tightens. Because now you're no longer resting. You're managing. You're negotiating with sleep. You're counting losses before they even happen. And here's the irony. The more you track sleep, the harder it becomes to fall back into it. Sleep doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to safety. But the clock sends the opposite message. It tells your brain something is at stake. And once your brain believes that, it stays alert. That's why you can lie perfectly still, eyes closed, body exhausted, and still feel wide awake inside. Because your system isn't resting anymore. It's watching. Now let's expand this slightly, because the clock isn't the only version of this habit. Some people don't check the time, but they check themselves. They ask internally, am I falling asleep yet? Is this working? Why am I still awake? That self-monitoring does the same thing. It keeps your nervous system on duty. So here's the rule for way number 2. At night, nothing needs to be measured. Not time. Not progress. Not results. The moment you stop measuring, your body finally gets permission to downshift. Let me ask you something, and answer honestly, even if only in your head. When you wake up at night, do you tend to check the clock? Or check yourself? Either one can keep the cycle alive. Now, some people here don't check the time and think, okay, but my mind still wants to do something. That urge is normal. Your brain is used to activity. So when you take measurement away, it looks for another job. Instead of fighting that urge, you redirect it quietly. Here are 3 simple replacements you can use the moment your mind wants to check, measure, or evaluate. You don't need to do all 3. You pick one. First option, a 20-second body check-in. With your eyes closed, bring your attention to just 3 places. Your jaw, your shoulders, and your hands. You're not trying to relax them. You're just noticing. If they soften, great. If they don't, that's fine too. Awareness alone often triggers release. Second option, choose one physical anchor. Not multiple. Just one. The weight of the blanket. The pressure of the pillow under your head. The feeling of your breath leaving your body. You let that one sensation be your home base. Every time your mind drifts, you come back to it. No analysis. No checking. Just returning. Third option, use a single sentence and repeat it gently. Something like, not now. Morning brain can handle this. Or, this doesn't need action tonight. You're not trying to convince yourself. You're setting a boundary. These replacements work because they keep your nervous system out of evaluation mode. No numbers. No progress tracking. No pressure. Just presence. Once your brain learns there's nothing to calculate, it stops staying on duty. Way number 3. How to signal your body that it's safe to power down. Use your breath, but change the rhythm, not the effort. When you wake up at night and your body feels alert, the problem isn't that you're not breathing deeply enough. The problem is that your nervous system is still in action mode. Your body has 2 main settings. One prepares you for movement, focus and reaction. The other prepares you for rest, repair and sleep. At night, when worry or urgency shows up, your body shifts into the first one, even though nothing is happening. So the goal is not to convince your mind that everything is okay. The goal is to show your body that it's safe to stand down. And the fastest way to do that is through a long, slow exhale. Here's exactly what to do. First, stay where you are. Don't sit up. Don't change rooms. Don't signal morning to your body. Your nervous system needs to hear, this is still night. Second, keep your eyes closed. Even brief visual input can activate your system more than you realize. Third, place one hand gently on your lower belly, not your chest. When you breathe, your belly should rise and fall. That's how you know you're breathing in a way that calms the nervous system. Now the rhythm. You inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Slow, gentle. Then you pause for 7 seconds. No tension, just a quiet hold. Then you exhale through your mouth for 8 seconds. Long, soft, as if you're slowly fogging up a mirror. That long exhale is the key. It tells your body there is no emergency. It slows your heart rate. It relaxes your muscles. It reduces the stress chemistry keeping you awake. And here's something important. It does not need to be perfect. If your hold is shorter, that's okay. If your exhale isn't exactly 8 seconds, that's okay. What matters is this. Your exhale is longer than your inhale. That's the signal your body responds to. You repeat this cycle 4 times. That's it. It takes about 8 minutes. And in most cases, by the end of those cycles, something shifts. Your shoulders drop. Your jaw loosens. Your thoughts slow down. Not because you forced them to stop, but because your body stopped feeding them urgency. Now listen carefully, because this makes all the difference. Do not watch for sleep. Do not check whether it's working. Do not evaluate the result. The moment you start monitoring, your nervous system goes back into alert mode. Instead, let your only focus be the rhythm. Air in. Pause. Air out. If a thought shows up, that's okay. You don't follow it. You don't argue with it. You simply come back to the next exhale. And if you finish 4 cycles and you're still awake, nothing is wrong. You start another round. No pressure. No frustration. Your body has already received the message. Sometimes it just needs a little longer to respond. Way number 4, the mental shift that quietly shuts down rumination. Stop trying to sleep and give your mind a different job. This is where most people unintentionally undo all the progress they've made. They breathe correctly. Their body starts to soften. And then a thought slips in. Is this working? Why am I still awake? I really need to fall asleep now. That single expectation sends the wrong message. It tells your brain something is still wrong. And as long as your nervous system believes there's a problem to fix, it stays alert. So the shift here is subtle, but powerful. You stop making sleep the goal. Instead, you give yourself one clear instruction. My job right now is to rest. Sleep can come later. That sentence removes urgency. It tells your nervous system there is no deadline, no pressure, no performance requirement. And once urgency disappears, your body has room to settle. Now, instead of letting your mind roam freely or trying to silence it, you give it something neutral to rest on. Not a distraction, an anchor. Here are 2 simple options. Choose one. Option 1, count only the exhales. You don't count the inhale. You don't count the hold. Only the exhale. 1, 2, 3. If you lose count, you simply start again, without judging yourself. Option 2, label thoughts, don't engage them. When a thought appears, you quietly name it. Planning, remembering, worrying. Then you return to the breath. You're not pushing thoughts away. You're teaching your brain that thoughts don't require action at night. This matters because your mind is very good at turning emotion into stories. And at 3 a.m., those stories feel convincing. But here's something important to remember. Night thoughts are not more truthful. They're just louder. Your logical brain, the part that puts things in perspective, is quieter at night. So the emotional voice takes over. That doesn't mean the content of those thoughts is urgent or accurate. It means your system is tired. Let me ask you something. When you wake up at night, do problems that feel manageable during the day suddenly feel overwhelming? If so, that's not insight. That's chemistry. And chemistry changes. The goal here isn't to solve anything. It's to lower the volume. Once the volume drops, the stories lose their grip. And sleep often arrives on its own, quietly, without effort. Now, there are nights when breathing helps. Resting helps. But your mind still refuses to slow down. Not because you're anxious, but because it's overstimulated. In those moments, trying to be present can feel impossible. So instead of stillness, you use gentle mental randomness. This technique is called cognitive shuffling. It works by moving your brain out of problem-solving mode and into the kind of loose, image-based thinking that naturally appears right before sleep. Here's how you do it. You choose a neutral word, something emotionally flat. For example, blanket. Now you take the first letter, B. Think of 3 simple images that start with B. Balloon, bridge, butterfly. You don't analyze them. You don't build a story. You just let each image appear briefly, 1 or 2 seconds, then move on. Then you go to the next letter, L. Lamp, leaf, ladder. Again, quick images. No meaning. You continue through the word slowly. If you reach the end and you're still awake, you choose another neutral word and start again. What this does is quietly occupy the part of your brain that wants to do something, without triggering urgency, emotion, or control. Many people notice that sleep sneaks up on them mid-word, not because they tried, but because the brain finally stopped looking for a problem. Way number 5, what to do when your body wakes up already alert. Release the tension before you try to calm the mind. Sometimes you wake up and your thoughts aren't racing yet, but your body already is. Your chest feels tight. Your heart feels louder. There's a restless, wired energy, almost like your system flipped a switch on its own. If you've ever woken up feeling like you drank coffee in your sleep, this is for you. This usually means your body processed stress while you were asleep. During the day, you hold things together. You stay functional. You move on. But at night, when the mind quiets down, the body finally gets space to release what it's been carrying. And sometimes that release doesn't feel calm. It feels activating. This doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means your nervous system is trying to complete a stress response that didn't finish during the day. So before you go into the breathing rhythm we talked about earlier, you do one small thing first. Just one. You take a normal inhale through your nose. Then, without exhaling yet, you take a second, short sip of air. Just a little more. And then you exhale slowly through your mouth. Long, soft, unforced, almost like a quiet sigh. You only do this once. This single breath helps release tension from the chest and resets your breathing pattern. Then you move into the slow breathing cycles from before. Inhale gently. Pause. Long exhale. This works because it tells your body, the alert response is complete. There's no danger to respond to anymore. Now here's something important. When your body wakes up like this, your instinct might be to search for a reason. Why am I feeling this? What does this mean? But at night, interpretation adds fuel. The sensation itself is not the problem. The reaction to it is. So instead of analyzing, you let the body discharge. You soften your jaw. You let the mattress hold you. You allow the sensation to pass without turning it into a story. Let me ask you something. When you wake up feeling tense, do you usually assume something bad is coming? If so, that assumption may be training your nervous system to escalate faster next time. Tonight, you're doing something different. You're letting sensation pass without urgency. And that alone reduces how often it happens. Way number 6. The one rule that prevents the cycle from restarting. Once your body starts calming down, don't interfere. This rule matters more than all the others combined. Because this is where most people accidentally reset the alarm. They notice a small shift, a softer breath, a quieter moment, a sense of relief, and immediately, their mind checks in. Am I falling asleep? Is this working? What if I wake up again? That moment of checking pulls the nervous system right back into alert mode. Because checking is evaluation, and evaluation feels like responsibility. At night, responsibility equals vigilance. So here's the rule, as clearly as possible. Once your body begins to settle, you stop managing the process. You don't track progress. You don't measure results. You don't look for sleep. You let the body do what it already knows how to do. Think of sleep like sliding down a gentle slope. The moment you try to stand up and look around, you stop sliding. So instead of monitoring, you stay with one neutral focus. The air leaving your body. The weight of your head on the pillow. The warmth under the blanket. Nothing else. If a thought comes in and says, "What if this doesn't last?" You don't answer it. You don't argue with it. You quietly say, "Not now." And you return to the exhale. This matters because your nervous system learns through experience. Every time you wake up, soften, and don't re-engage, you weaken the old pattern. You're teaching your brain a new response. Wake, soften, rest. No urgency. No problem solving. No fight. And here's something many people don't realize. Even if you don't fall asleep immediately, your body is still recovering. Rest without sleep is not wasted time. Your muscles are still releasing. Your chemistry is still shifting. Your system is still downshifting. And the more you trust that process, the faster sleep tends to arrive. Let me ask you something important. When you wake up at night, do you usually feel responsible for making sleep happen? If so, that sense of responsibility might be the very thing keeping you awake. Tonight, you're practicing something different. You're practicing non-interference. You're letting your nervous system lead. Before we close, let's cover a few common situations, quickly, so you don't leave wondering if something is wrong with you. If you wake up because you need to use the bathroom, keep the lights dim. Avoid mirrors. Don't check the time. Your goal is to send one clear message. This is still night. If you're in your late 30s, 40s, or 50s and wake up hot or restless, layer your bedding instead of using one heavy blanket. Keep the room slightly cooler. And know this, hormonal shifts can make sleep lighter. That doesn't mean your sleep is broken. It means your body needs clearer cues of safety and rest. And if these wake-ups happen most nights of the week, consider looking into CBTI, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. It's considered the gold standard, non-medication treatment for chronic sleep issues. Not because something is wrong with you, but because your nervous system may need structured retraining. This is about support, not failure. So stay with me for a moment, because the next time you wake up in the middle of the night, you won't have time to remember explanations. You'll need something simple, something clear, something you can trust, even at 3 a.m. And now you have that. You know that waking up at night is normal. What turns it into a problem is how your body interprets what happens next. You know to stop turning the night into a calculation. You know how to use your breath to signal safety instead of urgency. You know how to rest without forcing sleep. You know how to let tension release instead of turning it into a story. And you know when to step back and let your nervous system finish the job. This isn't about controlling sleep. It's about training your nervous system. And training doesn't happen through pressure. It happens quietly through repetition. So the next time you wake up at 3 a.m., instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" you'll know the answer. Nothing. Your body is just learning a new response. And that changes everything. If this video helped you feel calmer, more understood, or less alone, I invite you to subscribe to Emotional Growth. This channel is for women who want emotional clarity, inner stability, and real psychological tools, without pressure, without judgment. And if you want to go deeper and build that sense of safety from the inside out, I created a practical emotional self-mastery guide to support you. It's designed to help you regulate your emotions and build inner stability step by step at your own pace. You'll find the guide in the first pinned comment below. Until then, remember this. Sleep doesn't come when you demand it. It comes when your body finally feels safe enough to let go. And now, you know how to send that signal. Thank you for being here.